Thank you for joining us. My name is Neil Blake. I manage Axel's business over in Europe. Tonight, we will be talking about Axel AI, and in a moment, I will be handing over to my colleague Patrice Gotebel, who's our senior product manager. And we're just going to present a short presentation of some of the major features of Axel AI. There will be some time for questions and answers at the end of the session, but please feel free to ask any questions during the session via the chat field, and we will reply to them after the demo. So thank you for joining us, and I will hand over to Patrice. Thank you, Patrice.
Thank you, Neil. I am going to share my screen, making sure that everybody can see that. Axel is a solution that will allow you to index your folder structure and basically show you the content of your drive, network storage, high-speed storage, editing storage, basically show it inside the web browser. So basically, if I were to open my Finder window here, you will see that I have Axel, a folder in my documents called Axel, and I have Axel 2019 with a bunch of folders, files, and media. And this will be one folder that I have decided to index. Now, this is on my Mac. It can be also running on Linux, and any drive mounted, including cloud, can be picked up and indexed within Axel. Going back to the web browser here, I am going to simply log in as myself. And once I log in, you will see that I will basically jump to the home folder that the user have access. And on the left side, you will see the different top-level folders that Axel is either indexing or that as a user I have access. The left side is really meant to be quick access. So I can easily drill down to the folder that I want to access, and you will see the main content is updating. So you will see different top-level folders I have access to. We have also the bins. And the bin will be kind of the project area where I can have in and out points and rough cut selections that I can then either share, download, or export to my NLE of choice. Avid is not referenced here, but we also have support for an AAF export for Media Composer. We have underneath the smart filters, this will be predefined queries as well as the saved queries. So when we perform search, it is important for the end user to be able to save said search so it can reperform and find media and new media that is associated to the search query. And I can easily jump, for example, to video after 2020, and you will see that everything that I have ingested in 2020 as a video is showing up. And last but not least, we have also access to the archive, and you can archive to nearline storage. It can be also cloud, it can be tape. So you choose where you decide to park the files. So left side really meant to navigate quickly to what you need. At the top, you have the search bar. And by the way, just a quick note, the logo here is customizable. So you can replace with your logo, your customer logo, and it can be linked to a user account directly. Then I have the search. And if I were to search across everything, let me just do a search on Axel. Now it's going to find me a lot because it's searching also on the path. So this is searching on the file name, the path, any kind of metadata, everything. And you will see that it found roughly 890,000 files. Now that would be quite a pain as a user to have to figure out which file I need. So I can continue and actually do a little bit more. Let's say that I want to search for files that have been approved with a keyword Axel. Now it will continue to actually filter down, and now I'm down to 8 files. So within seconds, I went from 890,000 files to 8 files. And I can easily see if the video is what I need. You will see that we also support PDF, including multi-pages PDF. By clicking on the lens here, you will see that I can build up a very extensive query. I can say, for example, if the file is, let's say, greater than or equal to, and the date we help you build it, and I would say, let's say July 1st, 2020. And I can add as many fields as I want, and I can create a range, I can change the approval. We're just going to stick to how I build here the field, the metadata field, and here I have the operation. Begins with contain, does not contain, greater than, and so on. Can filter by file type. And if I am within a folder, you have also the possibility to restrict to this specific folder instead of searching across the whole catalog. Now I'm in search, and again, it is now going through the files, and it will find everything that has been added after July 1st, 2020. If I were to save this search query, you will see now that I have a couple buttons here. We try to keep it to a minimal. And this clock wheel here, or this gear button, is the main action menu, which means that I can do things in the whole view, such as creating a new bin. If I had the upload option, I can upload inside a folder and so on. But more importantly, I can save my search. And I will say new files after July 1st, for example. I'm going to save it. And notice that it will now appear and is selected in the bottom left right here under my smart filters. And this is how you will create the smart filters. Now, any new files added and anything that will match the criteria will then show up in the search result. Speaking of adding, the way you will add new content in Axel will be by dropping files and creating folders inside the storage. You do not need to change the way you work. Because we watch what is going on, you will be, we reflect exactly what is happening. So that was the search. Now let's actually see a preview. And to do that, I'm just going to do another search. And notice that I find just search for Benedict, and within a second, I went across my 890,000 files, and I found 2 clips where I have Benedict. Couple tips. First of all, file name contains Benedict. Big giveaway, we will return the results. However, if I were to zoom in a little bit, you will see that I have a little face here, which will indicate me that with face detection engine, I was able to pick that up. What do I mean by that? Let's click in the preview. Now, when I click on the icon, I will jump in the preview. PDF, images, any kind of media files, we are going to show you a preview, and it is automatically created by Axel. You have an HTML5 player with the scrubbing, and underneath you have the possibility to post comments on the timeline, such as host speaking right here, and you will see that as I scroll down, I will see the different annotations. These are metadata associated to the timeline that is searchable. This is also where you will create the subclip. By marking in and marking out, for example, I can say this is the new clip, a new clip 2. Just give it a simple name, select the bin I want to do it. Now, if I did not have any bin, I can still create my bin here. And I create a subclip, and now I have the new subclip available in the bin. On the right side, before I get to the whole good stuff here, on the right side, we have the user tags. And these are custom metadata tags that you can create. What type of field? You have text field, checkboxes, date, drop-down menu, multi-select buttons. So you can create a wide range of schema, a metadata type that you can then use. And we always know what we are going to build in the advanced search. Going back to the advanced search, you will see last modified date format. But take something with multiple options. I have multiple options being shown. And let's say I want to I have a lot of tags here. I don't want to search across all of that. I can easily enter, filter it down by typing. And if I were to do S, you will see that suddenly a keyword suggesting what exists will show up. So you have also suggestion of what kind of keyword exists in this metadata field. So this is the custom metadata field that you can create. Now this will mean that you still need, as a user, to spend the time to go in, watch the media, tag it, whether it is by timeline or date and other fields, but that will take a lot of time. We provide the tools to automatically tag your media. This is why we call Axel AI. We give you AI tools to pick up, for example, who appears in the video. You will see Beck Bennett, Benedict Cumberbatch, and we told you exactly where they appear. As you can see, the blue areas. So this is kind of one aspect. We also do object detection. And so it's kind of boring here. It will tell me, okay, you have an electronic with a TV. It's very small set, but if you were to have animals, like you're looking for crocodiles and other thing, it will actually go, it can also go faster. And lastly, you have the transcript. This is actually very important. The transcript, you know what is being said and you can search against. So suddenly, using Axel and its AI power, you can automatically tag with whom appears, what is in the video, what is being said, and search across millions of files and find quickly what you need. Briefly, before I hand over, I would like to discuss about a Premiere panel. As you can see, it can be a panel that you install automatically inside Premiere, and I can easily search, browse, and bring over what I need to find. So if I take, for example, this file right here, I can import the file. It will come over directly in my project. So Premiere panel, and we have also a panel available in Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects. So we support a wide range of Adobe suites. And lastly, because we present Axel in the web browser, and with the new challenges that we face, where you basically have people working from home and still need to access their media, we can set up reverse proxy, which will allow you to access your storage from the internet without opening ports in your firewall or exposing your server and storage to the internet. For example, my Neil's colleague system is open. I can simply log in. And if I remember correctly, the password will be able to access his system right here. It will be transparent. So without Neil exposing his storage, without exposing his server to the internet, I can still access the system. What I can do when I find my system, I can easily download the file if I need. It can even be editing proxies, so I do not need to download gigabytes worth of files, but I can still be productive. And this has been a very quick introduction to Axel, our video indexer and media search tool. And with that, Neil, over to you.
Thanks, Patrice. And if there are any questions, please pop them into the chat field. One or two have come up. One of them was, are smart filters unique to you or across all users? The smart filters that Patrice was showing is per user. Every user will see the new files today, the new files this week, but if a user saves a search result, it will be for their particular user. And we can see the search result. They can see the stored saved searches there. And the important thing about the saved search is it's saving what we're looking for, not what we've found, because the clips that may appear may be different on a day-to-day basis if we're searching for particular metadata fields. Somebody's asking about explaining the filtering feature shown at the top of the display. So where it says all there, Patrice, can you talk a little bit about the filter button, please?
Yes, very good question. So say that you ingest a camera card. So like we explained earlier, Axel will index everything that you dump into it. into the storage. So I drop a camera card and I have a lot of things that I'm not necessarily interested in. I do not have any files, but briefly, if I were to go to, let's picture that this demo is a card and I have XML file, thumbnails, and video files. I can just go in and say feature to video only. And it is going to go through and filter down to the videos and show me only the videos that are from this folder only. You can actually see the search that it is creating at the top here, where it searched from demo only the videos. And I can go in and do also audio only. And speaking of which, speaking of the audio, we provide also a preview of the waveform, and you can still process transcription here. So it will become searchable and you will see the preview of the waveform briefly over the video. So this is what the all stands for. It is very similar to if I decided to search on only finding images or videos or files. So I can say find me only images where the name contains, for example, Axel. And go through and find me these PDF files where I can go in and see each page individually, even get some OCR on the PDF itself that is, again, searchable.
Thanks, Patrice. One of the other questions was, do we support raw camera files? And the answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
We can support the raw camera files. We also import the EXIF and XMP data from that as well.
This is a very good question, actually. I can even show it now. We have this picture here, not necessarily raw as JPEG, but you will see the XMP, IPTC, and AXIF metadata. And these become searchable as well.
And we've got another question about the pop-up window in Premiere. So we have as Patrice mentioned, we have panels for Premiere Pro and other Adobe products, including After Effects and Photoshop and Illustrator. We don't, unfortunately, have one for Final Cut Pro or Final Cut X, but we do allow for bin export, which will create an FCPX XML that can be imported into the editor.
Just to let everybody know, it is in the roadmap to include a panel or plugin directly inside Final Cut Pro 10. But as Neil pointed out, if I go inside my bin with my rough select, I can create a Premiere XML or a Final Cut Pro XML.
And I think that's us at 20 past the hour. Are there any further questions? Now, what we can also do is, if you would like to take a closer look at Axel, either yourself or have a private demo, please let us know via email, or we can also set up an account for you on the external demo system as well. So again, just if you email, the best thing to do would be email Katie at axel.ai. So it's Katy at axel.ai, and she can help get that set up.
And just as the general rule, we are still lucky enough that everybody can use solely their first name for the email address. So Neil is reachable at Neil, Neil, at axel.ai, and myself, Patrice, Patrice, at axel.ai. So tend to be responsive. If for the odd chance you want to reach the CEO, it's Sam Bogosh. So it will be sam at axel.ai, SAM. And just checking again if we have any other question here.
There was also a question actually I missed from earlier regarding the facial recognition. Typically, it automatically recognizes famous people because they're in the database. But of course, you can train the system on faces that are not well known. So, if the system doesn't recognize somebody, we can teach inside Axel the name, and then that would be remembered from there on.
Great point. Thank you, Neil. Can the smart filters be shared with other users? A very good question. In a way, not really, because they are unique. However, there is a sharing capability where you could potentially, for example, select all these files, and you will see the three dots here, which will allow me to share a link to anybody. This is something that we could potentially utilize. Uh, Obviously, if more is needed in terms of sharing smart filters and search queries different across users, this is something we are happy to discuss further with you.
When you do recall a saved search, you do actually see the search string in the search tool, so you could also copy that and
Yeah,
send it to a user.
very good
So
point.
if you're using Slack or some other chat device, you could use that. One other thing about the sharing, could you just click on the share button again, Patrice?
Sure thing.
This was actually showing an internal IP address.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, sharing will work with external IP addresses as well. So, for example, if Patrice hits share on my demo system, you can see it'll come up with the external IP address. And you can see the encrypted link there. And also you can set the expiry time for that link. So the link will stop working after a certain amount of time there. And where it says recipients, Axel can also talk to an email server as well. So you can set up an email account for Axel to communicate with. So that would send the encrypted link to this user via an email account. So that's us at 25 past. If there are no more questions, we will wrap it up. But thank you very much for joining us. If you do think of something else, please just contact us by email. We'd be happy to answer the questions. Thank you, Patrice, for doing the demo. Excellent.
Sure thing.